Did you guys know that Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates want to kill us?
People like Jeffrey Epstein, it's now public record, were involved as early as 2017 in setting up the scheme of this great pandemic for some investors to make a fortune, such as Bill Gates. Epstein and Bill Gates discussed, matter of public record, of how to get rid of the poor people. The centralization of power.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to WWJPS. I am your host, Vanessa Pinto. Get rid of the poor. Yes, that's what we are talking about today. Today, we are going to be discussing how the billionaires continue to want to murder us, control us, and, just basically destroy our lives.
Into fewer hands is not a good trend. Fascism was about the concentration of power. Communism was about the concentration of power. Any dictatorship wants to concentrate power. Now, what's the justification for this? They will come up with stories, but when you look at the politics, it's very clear. In our day and age, and where we live, the politics is not convincing, because actually the opposite should happen. We claim to be fans of democracy. That means equal rights for people, participation of people in the decision-making.
But in order to get to the billionaires who now want to kill us, we have to start with the billionaires from the past who wanted to kill us. It always starts with the Rothschilds.
To name the most powerful family ever, chances are it's the Rothschilds, and for good reason. Starting as a modest banking family in 18th century Frankfurt, they built a financial network stretching across Europe faster than news could travel. Literally, they used private couriers and carrier pigeons to beat governments to critical information. At their peak, they financed wars, influenced kings, and even helped shape modern banking systems. One wild fact, after the Battle of Waterloo, Nathan Rothschild reportedly learned the outcome before the British government and made a fortune. While myths exaggerate their control, their real influence was staggering. Not bad for a family business that went global before the internet existed.
Are just the current stewards of a much older machinery. The Rothschilds built the debt trap centuries ago, mastering the art of lending sovereignty to nations only to reclaim it in blood.
You heard the theory that President Lincoln was assassinated by the Rothschilds?
Oh, yeah.
The Rothschilds, they were basically sold the Confederate banknotes in Europe, so they're supporting the Confederates.
No way.
And because Abraham Lincoln wanted to get rid of the European banking system and make it the U.S. banking system.
The craziest thing about the Civil War that nobody ever talks about was...
See how they just kept mentioning the banking system? Rothschilds are a bank now. But if you look at what's happening right now, we don't talk about, banks. But why are we really in Iran? Is it for oil, or is it because they don't bank the same way we do, or the Rothschilds do?
Russia's role in the Civil War. And what happened was that the Russians had just kicked the Rothschilds out, the banking cabal out, and they had heard that, basically they were trying to do the same thing in America. And Alexander, I think it was, actually sent Russian Navy to our borders. And you can actually see pictures of Russian troops with northern troops as well. So, and that's a big reason, because Spain and France and Britain were about to come in on the side of the South.
I mean, this is adding up to the
in modern Jewish history, and it begins with three words: Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
Why was it that this letter was sent by the Foreign Secretary to your great-uncle Walter?
It's an interesting question, because...
And they created Israel. Is it starting to make sense, folks?
It was primarily a movement from Eastern Europe, but they didn't clarify who was in charge of that movement. And in addition, it was, after all, in Great Britain. So they felt that, and Walter was Lord Rothschild, and he was a Zionist. And those really are the background reasons.
So Walter received the Balfour Declaration, and I have a copy here.
You think you know the Epstein story? You don't. Here's the part nobody talks about. Between 1981 and 1988, 7 years, Jeffrey Epstein simply disappears from the record. No employer, no clients, no paper trail. He left Bear Stearns fired and broke. Then, suddenly he's operating with access to billions. Researchers call it the gap. Intelligence analysts call it something else entirely. Here's the theory that keeps resurfacing in investigative circles. Those 7 years match almost perfectly with peak CIA and Mossad financial operations running through offshore Caribbean accounts. The Virgin Islands registration in 1988? Not random. No one funded that lifestyle from zero. Someone backed him. And whoever did got something in return. This isn't a conspiracy. This is an unanswered question that powerful people clearly prefer stays unanswered.
Rothschild daughter.
Said that no government or king would consider going to war without the Rothschilds supporting them, because that was how incredibly influential and powerful they had become.
You heard the theory?
Now, why are we always at war? Look at the map. Iran, Venezuela, North Korea. What do they really have in common? They are the last holdouts of the central banking grid. They refuse to let Oracle and the face index their citizens. We don't invade for democracy. We invade to install the hardware of the panopticon. Oracle, Larry Ellison's data mining Leviathan, born from the CIA to track every transaction. Facebook, the digital twin of DARPA's LifeLog. Zuckerberg didn't invent a social network, he deployed a surveillance net. Together, they have created a world where your behavior is your currency. One wrong thought, one unauthorized movement, and your digital existence vanishes. They are building a 1984 reality where you will own nothing, rent your life from them, and thank them for the privilege. So Jeffrey Epstein had ties to a company called Lifeboat and Teachers in Space, because you see, they weren't just trying to create an elite lifestyle. They wanted to make it for the future, right? So when you have billions of dollars, what do you want left? You want to be immortal. You want to be a god.
Will be deeply integrated into healthcare, offering unprecedented insights, but also raising significant privacy concerns.
The Lifeboat Foundation builds giant underground cities, okay? They openly advertise it, and for a fee and with an application letter, they might accept you to join their little society where they apparently have whole cities underground. They also advertise being able to take the clients off-world in the event of a catastrophe. And it's really interesting because Teachers in Space also talks about taking payloads off-world, which is all really weird, right? It gets even more interesting. You see, Donald Barr was the one who inducted Jeffrey Epstein with zero experience into the Dalton Institute, where he was a teacher. Donald Barr wrote a really interesting book called Relations in Space about an aristocratic elite trafficking children into space. Are you following me here? What's even weirder is the district attorney that was supposed to prosecute Jeffrey Epstein and bring him to justice was literally William Barr, Donald Barr's son. Now, the Lifeboat Foundation is really interesting because in 1996, they pioneered wireless money transfers. They are the second organization in the world to ever do this. This is a decade or two before Bitcoin even was a concept, right? So you got an organization that is doing wireless money transfers that are untraceable of large sums of money, and they're building giant underground infrastructures. It gets even weirder. I found out through looking on archive.org that Lifeboat Foundation has a homeless youth outreach program. And they used to have a whole station in Rhinelander, Wisconsin, and a whole board of people. They're all out of the Rhinelander, Wisconsin area. And they had this meeting in 2017, a homelessness problem-solving meeting, right? So you have an organization that's interested in homeless youth, interested in wireless money transfers, and interested in underground infrastructure. I don't know if you guys heard about Sasha Riley, but he's telling the truth. He was trafficked by the Epstein elite. He was in snuff films that he survived, but he witnessed people get unalived. And what I'm telling you is it gets crazier. The reason why Epstein surrounded himself with the scientific elite is because he was doing human cloning and he was doing consciousness transferal and stuff like this.
And now we talk about Soul Ranch. Oh yeah, Mr. Epstein was just getting started. Cloning, eugenics, transferring, but it's not just him. Who's left? Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, all of these people, Palantir, Oracle, Facebook. They are now the new Epsteins. We don't know how many are child rapists, but we certainly do. They all want to kill us and control us. My personal favorite, Larry Ellison, the quietest billionaire ever.
It is a numbered list. He wants to be at the top of that list.
This is America's digital landlord. Briefly, the world's richest man and the billionaire wax sculptor who's about to control all our TikTok data, Larry Ellison. His company Oracle already provides software to the NSA, probably hosts your health insurance data, and builds body cams and drones.
We're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. The police will be on their best behavior. Citizens will be on their best behavior.
And he's somehow angling for even more.
The operations of these kind of TikTok new company that would be US-based would be a joint venture that would largely be managed by Oracle, which is Larry Ellison's company.
The TikTok deal will add our favorite brain rot app to the giant blob that already controls most of our media and sets up the dominoes for a full-blown surveillance state.
This whole issue of privacy is utterly fascinating to me. Who's ever heard of this information being misused by the government?
So if he's going to control all our data, I wanted to find out, what does he believe and what does that mean for us?
Some people have compared it to the oil boom and the railroad boom. Larry Ellison is the robber baron of this era, but instead...
Vice president at a company called Precision Instruments in the 70s, he was overseeing the search for another company to come in and help with this struggling data project. And this gave him an idea. He and his former coworkers, Bob and Ed, made a company, put in the lowest offer, and Larry gave his own new company the job. Nice. They eventually named this company Oracle after a CIA project they had previously worked on, and Larry bought in at 60%. But data storage in the 70s was crazy, and people were looking for ways to simplify it. This guy named Ted Codd had published a theory about how to digitally store and retrieve data more efficiently using a new system called the relational database. But it didn't really exist yet, so IBM made a team to create a preliminary version. When they got it working, they published another paper on how. So when the Oracle guys came across this, it was a total score. Ellison's programmers could reassemble it like an IKEA directions manual, and Larry could sell it. And boom, free idea, billion-dollar software.
They call Epstein a supervillain, but really, to me, Larry Ellison is one of the most dangerous men in the world. His son, David Ellison, they own Paramount, they own TikTok, they own Oracle, they will soon own CNN. Bill Gates owns almost all of the farmland in America, and they just keep getting more and more. So what's going to be left for the rest of us? And also, beyond control of us, they seem to be really interested in our children. What most people don't know is that they've been hanging in the background for years. So, for example, Rockefeller is the one that invented the 40-hour work week, right? In order to keep us just desperate enough. But essentially what we're going to go over now is sort of a kaleidoscope of all of the ways that they have controlled us over the years that we didn't really know about until the Epstein emails came out.
The system wasn't built for you to win. You went to school to memorize facts you never use. You were trained to raise your hands, wait your turn, and follow instructions. Then they told you, get a job, work 40 hours a week, give half of it to tax, retire at 67 if you're lucky. That's not a life. That's a script. And most people don't question it because they're too tired from living it. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's when you realize freedom was never going to be handed to you. Break the script or stay stuck in it.
It was a code. There's no COVID. That doesn't stand for anything. That doesn't stand for a flu. It says certificate C of O, vaccination B, ID, identification.
Right before I went live, I saw this, and boy, former Rothschild director named new head of the Vatican Bank. Okay, all right, that's all I got to say about that. I don't have a show prepared around that topic, but has me a little concerned. Kyrie eleison, 100-fold. Maybe he's a nice guy. Maybe he's a good guy.
They are now selling you ice cream that doesn't melt. That's not a coincidence, because a lot of ice cream currently on shelves can't legally be called ice cream. The EPA classifies them as frozen dairy desserts. These are...
Israel was created as the instrument to bring about the Battle of Armageddon and the fulfillment of prophecy, a war that would be so terrible, where nuclear weapons will be used, so that the American citizens and the other people in the world will get down on their knees and beg for no more war. And what is the answer to that? They're going to be told the only way we can guarantee no more war is if we destroy the sovereignty of nations and we come together as one humanity in a one-world government.
Right. Okay. And the Jewish people were then being manipulated into believing it was for some other reason.
That's correct. They've always been manipulated. And I get people who still come to me all the time and say, Bill, you're all wrong. It's the Jews. The Jews are subverting the world. Man, it's not the Jews. It's not the Catholics. It's not the blacks. It's these men who belong to the ancient mystery schools, who meet in secret and decide the fate of the world. And they belong to all different races and all different nationalities and all different religions to the public point of view. But in secret...
Now, the grid doesn't just want your money, it wants your legacy. It wants your children. Enter Leon Black. Well, he's the guy that owns LifeTouch, the people who take pictures of your children at school. He was also accused of raping a disabled girl. His private equity firm, Apollo, was buying the very companies that take your children's school photos. Think about the sheer darkness of that island. And you know, so many of these things happened on the island. Did you ever think why Epstein's Island existed? It wasn't new. It's actually one of many.
Surrounded by water, making decisions that affect all of us. Let's start with something simple. When you own a private island, you don't just own land, you own the rules. There are no neighbors to call the police, no journalists who can walk up uninvited, no paparazzi with a long lens, just ocean in every direction, separating you from every consequence that exists on the mainland. And the names doing this? These aren't fringe figures. Jay-Z bought Beyoncé a private island in the Florida Keys for her 29th birthday. $18 million. They then quietly acquired a second island in the Bahamas. Changed the world over sunset cocktails. Tech moguls beside Hollywood directors beside heads of state. That's the brand. That's what gets written about in magazines. Then January 2026 happened. 3 million pages of documents were released by the US Department of Justice. And suddenly, Necker Island was in a very different kind of headline. Here's the geography first, because it matters. Necker Island sits in the British Virgin Islands. Jeffrey Epstein's Little St. James sits 20 minutes away by helicopter, 10 minutes by plane. Those are Epstein's own words, in a documented email. 2 islands representing the twin poles of legitimate elite gathering and criminal elite gathering, not just geographically close, but socially entangled in ways that are still being mapped. In the Epstein documents, Richard Branson's name appears 798 times. After meeting Epstein on Necker in September 2013, 4 years after Epstein had already served prison time for soliciting a minor, Epstein emailed Branson to say thanks. Branson replied warmly and ended with, "As long as you bring your harem," PR rehabilitation strategy for Epstein, suggesting that if Bill Gates would publicly endorse him as a reformed man, it would restore his reputation. A billionaire, coaching a convicted pedophile on how to use celebrity credibility as a reputation laundering tool. Branson's team say he regrets the language used and didn't.
These people have been embedded in our lives, stealing from us in every capacity, but it's the children thing that I still don't understand. For some reason, they perform these rituals because they want to, I don't know, be a fucking immortal or some shit, but they use children to do it and the fear of children. And so we're going to end this with a compilation of horrifying videos. Prepare yourself.
Why does every American school let a random company walk in and photograph every single kid? Why is it normalized that a third-party corporation collects a high-resolution image of every child in the country? They claim it's harmless. But look into who owns them. Follow the money and you land in the same place. BlackRock, Vanguard, the silent architects with stakes in defense, surveillance, and data firms. Why do these financial giants want the largest photo database of American children? Facial recognition needs training data. massive data sets. The younger the better to track identity over time. What better supply chain than schools? A captive population. Full compliance. If the goal was just prints, the industry wouldn't be consolidated under the same umbrella.
This one's in Thailand. Been in Thailand before. Beautiful. 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 What comes with the island? There's a small villa there. You could practically build with the island. There's building things. Yeah, there's.
Do the islands come with the children or the children?
This island does have a small school. There are children.
Okay, so I don't know if that's a
yeah.
What countries are near to abduct them from?
Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, Vietnam.
And here's the sickest twist of all. A baby ranch fantasy isn't just about spreading DNA. It's about rewriting identity. It's about turning human life into a brand, a personal signature, a monument made of living people. And that's not metaphorical. That's literal. Which brings us to the core horror of the story. This isn't the mindset of someone who sees victims as people. This is the mindset of someone who sees victims as inventory. And once you understand that, it reframes everything.
The trafficking of children isn't just a side effect of their sickness, it's the goal. They want the pure, uncorrupted energy of the young to fuel their off-world fantasies, no matter what evil scenario they plan, whether it's a new virus or a banking collapse. The obsession with the innocent never dies. It just moves to a different orbit.
I was asking Andy Bustamante, who is definitely still in CIA. He said the first most shocking day at CIA is the day you figure out who really runs the world, when they tell you that.
That's it, you know.
And the second most shocking day is learning how you operate within that system, because you ain't going to change it. He says it better than that, but it's a cynical way of putting it. But
I don't suppose he told you who runs the world.
Well, I was talking with him about that a couple weekends ago, and the context of the conversation was like the Rockefellers. And I was like, interesting. He would have never, ever commented on that kind of thing a year ago. He is now. Maybe it's like, well, they know. We're giving up the game. I don't know, but I found that very fascinating for sure.
So what they're pushing for is to end currency as we know it. So if you look at programmable money, it's not a currency. It's a control system. So if you have, whether it's a credit card or you have digital money of various kinds, but centrally the rules can be made by the banks or the central banks where you can shop, who you can buy from, when you can shop, and your money can be turned off or negative interest rates can be applied. Taxation can be decided by the bankers, so no representation. And essentially all the rules can be made and enforced through the money. Then that's not a currency, that's a slavery system.
Is Trump the good guy in all of this? Is my question, or do you view him as part of a puppet of a bigger play?
So we at Solari have a collection it's called the Fast Approaching Digital Control Grid. And it is a collection that we update every week of everything the federal government is doing, administration and Congress, to implement a control grid. And in my opinion, Trump was put into the...
They're not clones. It's worse than that. Everyone's talking about celebrity clones, but what if I told you it's not cloning? It's something the Bible warned us about 3,000 years ago. And you've seen it. Your favorite artist suddenly acts different, or your favorite actor, a different...
In the words of Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump is a puppet. He's always been a puppet, but a very well-paid puppet. That's why all of this is happening. That man doesn't care about anything but money beyond the fact that he's completely compromised in every way. But let's find out about a few more of his friends and who bought the Zorro Ranch.
What I'm about to tell you will blow your mind. Hafines and his wife are the new owners of Epstein's Zorro Ranch via a shell company. Epstein's ranch is owned by a man who funds newborn heart cell harvesting. Hafines is CEO of HEST, which invests in Secretome Therapeutics, which takes cells harvested from the hearts of newborns under 30 days old for the treatment of cardiovascular disease. I repeat, newborns.
Notice when this was bought, it was bought under a private LLC that no one could find out about. Then when all of a sudden everybody started investigating New Mexico, he suddenly was like, oh no, we own it. We want to turn it into a place for Christians. And this is what they do. The people that eat babies and make them into cream cheese. I mean, come on, folks. It's obvious.
The owner of Zorro Ranch is funding this developing therapy. Here's Huffines with Steve Bannon, who is also in the Epstein files extensively. Huffine's son is on Trump's cabinet. There are only 3 scientists in the whole world who specialize in this research, and one of them, Eric Olson, appears twice in the Epstein files. Candace has recently connected Erica Kirk and Epstein via Next Modeling Agency, allegedly. If you've been following them, I've done a deep dive as well. Turning Point Action has recently endorsed him in his campaign for Texas comptroller. So is this another connection between Erica Kirk and Epstein? If you know anything about Zorro Ranch, you know that there have been very disturbing.
For years, there has been a long-standing conspiracy theory that Hollywood and the elites harvest the blood of young people and transfuse it in order to reverse age. And now the Epstein files might have revealed that that is in fact true. In this email to Jeffrey Epstein, it says, all you need is a blood transfusion from the pack and you reverse aging. This is where adrenochrome comes into play. It is a real chemical compound found in the blood when the body is in a fight or flight situation. And we know that the kids that were involved in Jeffrey Epstein's network were definitely put into fight or flight. And of course, we've seen Hollywood elites like Chrissy Teigen tweet about how they're going to a party where they're serving up 4-year-old cheese pizza with adrenochrome and, of course, the eye emoji.
As we wind our way down here, I will ask you one thing. They've built the prison. They've written the code. You will own nothing, not even your own mind. And as the door locks, they aren't looking back. They are ascending to the stars. They are taking the stock with them into the cold dark. The only thing they can't delete is the truth, and only one thing of the line remains. We better not ever misbehave.
What happened to her? So she eventually started traveling to Europe. She was dating this CEO of a jean company that I don't want to name, and he was using her and abusing her and bringing her to parties, and she was getting gang raped by a lot of these older men, and she was stuck in Paris. I was working in London, and I had to go pick her up in Paris and bring her back to New York to get her out. She couldn't get out.
And then when you brought her back to New York, what?
So she had to go through a detox program,
right.
But then she fell off because she met up with Naomi. Naomi knows a lot of these millionaire and billionaire guys, so she connects you to them. She will connect you. Oh, darling, you know, so-and-so has the hotel, the Fontainebleau in Miami. I'll easily connect you. So they connect you, and then that's it. That's how it starts.
And what do you think she gets out of it?
Well, she gets money. When you bring models or people that can easily be manipulated, you get funded.
These children are not just kidnapped and in some cases bred by families as a cash crop. We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them. And when they are sold, they come without birth certificates, which means it's easier to kill them and have no one ask where they are. We're also importing children by the plane load. Again, children who have no documentation. It's not just child slavery or child sex abuse. It's also child torture, because you have adrenalized blood. You have the whole blood drinking ceremony of the satanic world. It's also the use of children for harvesting body organs. And then you have ritual ceremonies and ritual murder, as well as incidental murder. Most organizations that end up being used to prey on children, Oxfam is a recent example, all of the United Nations organizations, the Boy Scouts of America.
I have had more than one encounter with Trump, and that's why I tried to kill that son of a bitch, because he is a fucking monster. It's why I have not shut up about just how absolutely abhorrent he is as a human being, and that's why I tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Because I had decided, I had already seen enough other people die that in my mind I thought, well, just going to kill me too at some point, right? So I'm not going to survive to be an adult from this. So in my mind, he was the biggest pile of shit that I had ever had to have any contact with. So I was going to take him with me. And
how often did Trump assault you? Do you remember?
I can remember two specifically. A third one that I think, and I think I was around him more than just those 3 times.
They really did think they were God. This is from the Epstein files. If you made it this far, drop a black heart. Thank you, everyone. I will be back with more. Please like, comment, and subscribe.